Hello and welcome back to Mellohi, a DSMP podcast. This is episode 63 and today we're discussing the end of Las Nevadas. We're back.
Hello.
And there's 4 of us instead of 2.
Yeah.
For once in our life, our schedules actually work out. I am back from, deathcation.
To be fair, we managed to do this because we're doing it a day after we usually do it.
Yes.
And 2 hours before the usual time.
Yeah.
Yes. And
That's true.
yeah, and I'm gonna be rushing editing after this, and it's gonna be great. This episode's gonna come out, and it's gonna be absolutely perfect, with absolutely no flaws, and definitely the same amount of effort I put into every episode. Anyways, we had Quackity War. It's the end, guys. It's here. It came.
We also
it's
had
over.
Sam Bucket lore, but probably gonna talk about that next week because
Yes.
Sweet hasn't watched it. Sabu only managed to get through half of it before passing out. Has Sai watched it?
Sai.
I have.
Sai and
I
Snowy
watched
have
it.
watched.
Not exactly live. I missed the start of it and I just watched from there.
Yeah.
You know, you can go on Twitch and go to the videos and you can
Oh,
see,
right.
a stream as it's still going.
Sai
Yeah.
missed the first half. No.
But that's okay because it gives us.
No, I didn't actually miss anything. No, I did actually miss the first few minutes of Quackity's stream.
That's okay.
But it was only the first few minutes, I was there for chapter 1.
But this just gives us a
Just
chance
a little bit
to,
start with him and Wilbur.
focus on Quackity lore and then focus entirely on Sam Bucket lore and talk about what happened. 'Cause something certainly did happen.
So many things happened.
At least 2 things happened.
At least 2 things. Some may even say more than 2 things. I'm trying to remember how as always we get, proper cinematography from the great artist known as Quackity. Hit artist and rapper Quackity, Las Nevadas. We started with sort of a flashback, which is interesting because I think that's now the second time in the last few weeks where we've had lore start with glimpses into the past.
Reminding
pretty
us
sure-
of how shitty Lamamberg really was.
Yeah, because Wilbur's lore started with sort of a flashback, look back at a not a moment that was canon, but a moment that is now canon, not something that actually happened during, the beginning of the server, but something that they've now recorded recently and set it during the time period of the beginning of the server. You know how it is. And we learned in something of a retcon that Tommy's the one who named Lamamberg and how Wilbur thought of Lamamberg as a representation of Tommy.
It's Mantopia.
Or something like
erasure.
that. Yeah. Similarly, we started with a flashback this stream also to Tommy. It's almost like he's important to other characters. Especially characters who have gone a bit unhinged in their pursuits of power. Cough, Quackity. Cough, Wilbur. Yeah, no, but we're back at, instead of the foundation of Lamant. Actually, it's kind of, I don't know if it was on purpose. But
Right before, right when they're about to start their whole election campaign scheme, and after Quackity has been rejected from Lamamberg's citizenship by Wilbur because of his nationality. I think he's trying to speak with Tommy to make friends. Hey, nationality doesn't matter at Tommy. It does actually at Quackity.
Well, it was I didn't think about it till just now, but it is kind of interesting that both Quackity and Wilbur started this pre-recorded lore that they did with this glimpse into what could be considered the beginning of their stories, or the foundational mark for their characters and what happens after them. Because with Wilbur, you get naming L'Manberg and deciding that this is going to be a country, and with Quackity, you get the night before the election and setting that sort of, like, what is my relationship with Tommy, and the fact that this isn't, you know, personal, like, I don't hate you, Tommy, or anything like that. That was kind of the gist of the conversation. It was like, I don't hate you, Tommy, I just, I want to be clear that we can still be friends. I just want to, it's like, this is not a personal thing. And even Tommy is like, yeah, no, this is, oh yeah, also, anyone who hates L'Manberg, you are so validated, because
Oh, yeah.
Tommy literally says in this, is like, yeah, no, I mean, this isn't anything personal, Quackity. This is literally just for me and Wilbur to consolidate power so we can do whatever we want.
Yeah, literally.
Like, goddamn, alright. I'm sorry, people who love L'Manberg. Y'all got some shady foundations.
I mean, if they love L'Manberg, they're probably not listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if they were.
In which case, you are all gluttons for punishment to be here for this.
I don't think there's a single L'Manberg lover among us.
Yeah. It's, I mean, I feel like it's hard to even be a L'Manberg enjoyer anymore, because every day, every stream,
I mean, it depends on how you enjoy it, right? Because of the most typical L'Manberg likers are people who believe L'Manberg was 100% good and pure and there was nothing wrong with it, and Dream is bad for trying to take it away. Wow. Sorry. But,
Or they believe that, like, the initial, like, concept was good and then it got, like, corrupted over time.
yeah, I think there's
You know, like, there's people who are like, oh, L'Manberg died with, like, the
L'Manberg was dead before it even started.
final
guys.
control room. From there it was dead. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's sort of like this idealization of L'Manberg as it was first sort of created. When, like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people who think that never even watched those VODs.
Yeah, I mean, like, I sort of view L'Manberg as a tool Wilbur used to get what he wanted. Kind of thing. Because it is partially, like, his tribute to Tommy, but it's also, like, he's not above using people, he's not above using things to get what he wants. And what he wants was to stick it to the man. Fuck you, Dream. And
It's kind of interesting, because in that sense, him and Quackity are Quackity and Dream are all very, very similar, in that they are willing to use things for the sake of, you know, what they want,
their
what
goals,
they want to achieve.
selfish or unselfish.
Yeah, it's just kind of interesting. But, speaking of Quackity, and Wilbur, yeah, they both sort of have this, I saw someone else refer to it sort of as, like, dog-eat-dog world, where, you know, everyone's gonna screw you over, which is definitely true. I mean, pretty much everyone in the Dream SMP world will screw you over, given the chance or the proper motivation for it. That's just kind of how it is. There's not much more to it. But, I'm trying to figure out a natural segue without skipping over the majority of the lore stream. But yeah, no, we start with, you know, Tommy and Quackity, and Quackity saying, you know, I just wanted to help people, or, like, I wanted to make change, and this is, my start to do that. And then immediately we flash into fire, alarms, terrible things happening.
Las Nevadas and destruction, and someone, presumably Quackity, running through it all.
Yep. And then we go into the rest of the stream, and we're not gonna, you know, lay out everything that happens in the stream. But, yeah, the title card was great. But yeah, no, so we get this sorta, I think I already said this. I just find it interesting that, you know, the way that Wilbur and Quackity, started off their lore streams with sort of these, especially because these are both streams that are considered, like, the last stream of the season, at the very least, of these characters. And then they both start their streams off from a place of, these are sort of the starts of these characters, let's see how they finish. And in Quackity's case, not much different than how he started. But it's just interesting to see the way that progresses. And then, obviously, can we talk about the cinematography for a little bit? Because, like...
Oh yeah, it was great.
It was so pretty. It was so good.
I think one of my favorite sequences is, like, the Slime Army one.
Yes.
But also the very bit at the end where it's just, like, constantly, like, panning around the open window.
The open window.
With the two of them just standing
Oh, yeah!
Oh, yeah. That was really cool.
Because you're just waiting. Because you know it's gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is the first Quackity lore that was just entirely cinematography.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything in it that was, like, live.
And I mean, it doesn't have to be live for me, but I feel like part of the charm is seeing things through first-person mode. And looking through the character's eyes. And also, I'm mostly saying this because I feel like we lost out on some of Dream's character action, like character body language, because of that. Because we're always switching from one character to another. We never really see all of them from one perspective, and we're not staring at Purple and Dream through Quackity's eyes.
It was much more like TV show and movie like, rather than the way that it typically works with Dream SMP.
Yeah,
which I didn't dislike.
It's not like cool. It's not bad, but it's also like it loses some of the nuance of being able to see everything that happens instead of just the cut down, jump to zoom ins.
Yeah,
because you don't see how Dream reacts when Quackity is speaking or when Purple is speaking until they're done speaking and you cut to him when he starts speaking. So, like, you lose out on some of his reactions. And obviously, because this is Dream, he's obviously going to have his character react to that physically in a way that we don't get from his voice.
Although I did hear, apparently, he was supposed to have more lines, but he was having internet problems.
I know!
So we lost out on some of his lines and stuff. But, I mean, just in general, I think that goes true for a lot of the characters. Because I think, like, So just to, preface for people who haven't watched it, but if you haven't watched the lore stream, why are you listening to this? Go watch that first, give Quackity, the attention he deserves. But we get a couple different characters, like, perspectives throughout it. Like, we follow, like, it's like a TV show, so you can kind of flip between different people. So we get, like, some Puns and Purple interaction, and, like, lore, from Puns' perspective, specifically, I think, during that segment. We get Rambo and Mexican Dream lore that was sort of mostly third person in general, which...
And just like, just about that, just like the fact that Rambo mistook Mexican Dream for character Dream.
And he got excited.
I was like, oh, am I finally getting revived? And it's like, oh no,
it's so sad. Dude got left behind on his island again, even after Mexican Dream.
And a smile crumb. Just one crumb.
Yes, but it's enough for me. I've been fed.
More! Give us nothing, besties. You just give us nothing. That entire segment was nothing but an Ender Smile tease. God damn it all.
Yeah. But we got the Rambo and the Mexican Dream lore, which I have interesting thoughts about because I'm very curious. But and then we got some Quackity perspective, and I think that it was it. I think it was like Puns, sort of a third person over Rambo and Mexican Dream, but I'd say it focused more on Rambo. And then we got Quackity, I think, was pretty much the three main sort of perspectives, or like the three people we saw through the eyes of. Oh, and Foolish. We followed Foolish a little bit for narrative purposes, but it was just, I think it was interesting.
The poor underpaid intern.
Foolish is exactly that kind of character in that lore stream. He's very much the underpaid worker who's just like, why are you shooting off the fireworks? You know how expensive and hard they are to make? Like, those are not, why are we wasting these? She's like, oh, poor Foolish. Poor Foolish.
No, also just the fact that Foolish looks just, hey, why don't we populate Las Nevadas? Quote, recruit more people, quote. And then Quackity's first thought is just making babies. What? What?
That's because Impreg is canonical on the server. He gave birth to Mexican Lemamberg, so he's like... That's why Mexican Lemamberg's also in limbo, because it actually was like a living entity.
Yeah! And Quackity killed it!
Yeah, so Quackity's first thought when Foolish was like, we should just like populate the country, Quackity's like, no, I don't want to raise fucking kids, like... Oh my
What
God.
a jump in logic, Quackity! Why did you go to the
But I
fact
think
that
it's kind of
meant they're
interesting just from like
kids?
the storytelling perspective that like I guess we kind of all assumed that Last Novatus and like the scale of it was just gonna be one of those things that just kind of gets ignored in canon. But then it actually gets brought up as a plot point. There's really not enough people on the server
Yeah.
for it to really work as intended.
Yeah!
And I thought that was cool.
I just...
It was-
Because I thought that was just gonna be like a suspension of disbelief thing, but then I actually went and pointed out, like, we don't actually have that many people here, guys.
I love the way that they called out that sort of like plot hole, because there genuinely
love
isn't.
it.
There's like, what, 30-something people on the server entirely?
Yeah.
Like, that's not enough
like,
for
you're
a
lucky to have half of
casino
them on at a
metropolis or whatever you were trying to make.
like genuinely, I'm sorry. I am such a bad person. I am lording my victories to all the other people out there who said there must be super secret silent citizens. In
There's
all
not!
DSMP.
They don't exist!
Fuck you, there is. The canon confirms it. Fuck you. Sorry.
Although it does kind of make it funny in the sense of like how with Lemamberg we would end up getting these like sort of like the Twitter votes for like exile or the elections. It's like how do you make that work in universe? Because there's like I don't know 10 people in the entire like what is chat, like what is Twitter, like because I guess that's kind of the appeal and the novelty of the Dream SMP is that it's just kind of like nothing when you really think about the world and like, when you look at it. For the most part, it doesn't make any sense because it's literally just Minecraft, and then you have like an audience, and the audience is like directly spoken to or asked to do things. Like it's like an example of like another like big like media project sort of thing where that happened, the only thing I can think of is when DC had a fan viewer vote to see if they were gonna kill the second Robin, and in universe they didn't like give voice to the fact that, you know, they killed him, but on the other hand it was still like a direct effect. And so like how does that work in universe is my constant question. Like, it's so
that would
fun.
actually be like a kind of like interesting thing to do.
What?
I mean,
Like have the characters find out
Oh, that a bunch
that
of
there was a vote.
anonymous tens of thousands of people who decided their fates.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
to be fair, during the elections, everyone could vote, even if they weren't from Lemamberg, so...
Yeah.
Oh no, I was talking more in cases of like in DC, because that would actually make like a really interesting storyline, I think.
I feel like it's that there's a very popular like fan
Because like
fiction
they've kind of done
style.
stuff like that before. Like that's the whole like Superboy Prime stuff. Is like he's aware of the fact that he's a character who's been written by like the DC Comics writers,
Well, I was just gonna
and
say
that's like really messed him
that
up.
that kind of like concept though just reminds me of this fan fiction where it's like the cast, like the characters of this TV show are stuck in a fourth dimensional room with some anonymous
Stop!
like
No.
omnipotent
Those
being who
fucking
gives them a
fish.
book or shows like everything that's happened to them on TV so they can see all the shit that each other did. It's like that's an interesting concept. It's like that with the Dream SMP, but like they don't blame the viewers ever for like what happens, and like I don't know, it's interesting because like I mean I guess this is getting away
part
from
of it
the-
is that it's like it's explicitly like a choice for characters on the Dream SMP to like invoke the like Twitter hive mind.
yeah.
You know, like when they were doing the elections, they decided, like the characters themselves decided to make it a vote in that way. When Tubbo wasn't sure whether to exile Tommy or not.
It's
I mean,
almost
that,
like
that
it
one
was
was
a vote.
more of a like that. That's not an in-universe vote though. The exile wasn't an in-universe vote. The elections was an in-universe vote. but
I
the
am
exile
noticing
wasn't.
though a specific sort of trend between them, which is that it seems to be a power specifically that the president of L'Manberg can invoke. Because Wilbur did it with the elections, he's the one who put it out there. Tubbo did it with the exile thing, and no one's done it other than that.
I mean,
Like, the closest you get is like Tales for the SMP, where you have the votes in chat for which characters are gonna die.
Really hard about something. Sorry, Carl, I love you. No, I think it'd be funny. So like other servers exist, right? Other areas exist. People outside the server exist within universe within the Dream SMP. Because we have like Wilbur talking about being from fucking Utah. Yeah, and we also have like
CPK's a
CPK,
dimension hopper.
who's a dimension hopper, etc., etc. And so, wouldn't be completely out of the blue if Wilbur literally just opened up the L'Manberg elections to everyone in the universe.
True, maybe it's... I mean, I don't know what the explanation for it is. But I think it's really funny, though, the way that kind of ties in, right? Because on the one hand, we have characters invoking Twitter as an election site. In the other case, you have people like Quackity, who's trying to run a country built off of gambling and power and businesses, and 3 people show up, and you know who those 3 people are? 2 people who are already part of the country, and Skeppy.
Skeppy!
Which, yeah, the Skeppy appearance was very random, but on the other hand, I loved it. I was just
If
like,
Connor
why
were
is
alive, he'd
Skeppy
be
there?
there.
If Connor was alive, he absolutely would have showed up. That would have been a great place for him to make an appearance. I don't know, it's just interesting to see, like, who... Like, the ways that... I think the world building for the Dream SMP is always interesting, because it makes no fucking sense half the time. In the way that, like, how much of it is, like, in the... Like, because in books, like, you don't have 4th dimensions. It's, you know, the world is the world. In this, but in this, the world is a video game. But are the characters aware it's a video game? Are the characters not aware it's a video game? It's hard to say. In fact, it's impossible to say.
Yeah.
And I just find it really
it's also
interesting.
because it's like, so like in world building there's like 2 main aspects that you have to sort of like pay attention to. And one is sort of like the internal consistency, like the logic of it. But the other one is sort of like the cohesion. It's sort of like how well can you make it so people understand what is and what is not possible in this world. And when there's an exception to that, how well can you explain it without having to like make completely new stuff up? And what Dream SMP does is it doesn't really do the whole cohesion thing, but it also simultaneously does.
Yeah.
Because we're aware of the like physical limits of what they can do in Minecraft, but then they can also bring in stuff like the egg, which is completely unpredictable if you're working for the basis of just Minecraft.
Or, I don't know,
So it creates
cloning
this situation where
slimes.
most of the time you can predict what happens until the magic stuff comes in. And then you have to sort of work out, this is a completely different thing. Here are the slimes, and we're just going to count them in with magic stuff. And you have to figure out what are the rules this new stuff works on, like learning that how the slimes work. And how they're basically constantly evolving.
Yeah, we're like, it's not even...
Wait, I just
To
realized...
some extent, it's also science stuff, because it's the slimes are, like, I feel like categorized more as science stuff, but also the nukes.
I just realized the slime is a play on the anime genre of slimes evolving from eating them so much. Why? What the fuck? No, have
But,
you...
like, it's... Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. It's the, like,
Ah!
slimes eat, I don't know, like, a piece of fire, and now they're a fire slime. Woo! Or,
like, constantly evolving. That's just fucking every single anime with or manga with a isekai manga with a slime in it ever, where the slime just somehow becomes super OP because it's constantly evolving, quote unquote. Ugh.
Yeah, or like, I don't know, but I would categorize the slimes more as magic stuff, but that's because to me, you also can factor in things like the nukes, which in base Minecraft, that isn't a thing. And because, you know, the Dream SMP is pretty much vanilla, that's not really a thing. But you know what happened? Tubbo made it happen. But he just sort of hand-waved away how it worked. Other than, you know, like, oh, there's 2 key cards. This is how they function practically. How we built them? Nobody needs to know that. But yeah. So it's like, but yeah, no, I agree with you. It is sort of like they kind of pick and choose the whole cohesion and the rules to whatever at the time kind of fits their needs. And if it doesn't really make sense, because for the most part, the Dream SMP sort of runs off of, like, real life and Minecraft rules. You know, if it's possible in Minecraft, then it can happen. But if it's, like, you know, something that they have the power to do in real life, like, you know, run a Twitter poll, or, I don't know, commission somebody for a skin or a build schematic, or, I don't know, art, or something, they can make it happen in the
Fan
SMP art in a way that makes sense. Yeah, like fan art, or asking like chat for name ideas for a country, because I'm pretty sure Kanoko was a chat suggestion.
It was.
So like they can kind of like hand wave that stuff away, and it's something else, my dude. It's something else. But yeah, no.
I mean, I feel like they do it, but as long the only big rule is as long as nothing majorly contradicts one another, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Because everything works as long as they don't work. I'm sorry, my brain's not working either.
They generally, I think, try not to contradict each other, but because the way that they sort of make the rules on how the world work are pretty loose in the first place, it's not hard to not contradict world stuff. And even if they do, it can be as simple as, like, well, this is something this character can do, but this character can't because of reasons. Yes, reasons. Because raisins. And stuff like that. So it's just interesting the way that works. But speaking of, you know, things that aren't possible in base Minecraft, but they still did it for lore to great effect, Quackity literally made an army of slimes. What the fuck?
No, dude, this is okay.
Also, he made all of them watch the Dream SMP VODs.
Yeah! What the fuck?
Oh, yeah!
No, I just, so like, first 2 things. One thing, Quackity took the death of his best friend and then commercialized it. He industrialized his best friend's kid.
Yeah!
For profit, for capitalism. Because his fucking casino's empty, he went like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna populate it with a bunch of slimes that remind me of my best fucking friend.
He even gave them glasses.
He made him in the image of his best friend.
They even had the same voice.
I know. And then he told them all to die for. He forced them to watch canonical DSMP VODs, which I'm so sorry. But also, like, he made them, forced them to be loyal. He forced them to die and live and die for his country. Like, they were nothing more than puppets.
Yeah.
And that is just like, and he made them in the image of his best friend. He turned his best friend and everything it stood for into nothing more than a cog in a machine, and that is just so aside from the whole slime experimentation, that like, aside from that part, the fact that he turned his best friend into a cog in his grand plan machine, like, that just the memory of his best friend.
It's kind of on brand from the start, though, because
bad on it.
Well, I mean, but is it? Because when you think about it, from the very start of him meeting Slimesicle, he was planning on, you know, manipulating him and using him because he realized he was malleable.
But all those feelings he developed for slime meant nothing.
Oh, I mean, like Slimesicle himself says, and this is big spoiler territory, he's not a good person. He ruined his own life, and he ruined Slimesicle's life, because before this, Slimesicle didn't know that, you know, humans are assholes, or all of this terrible shit that Quackity taught him, and he didn't go through, like, he didn't know what it meant or felt like to literally burn to death in lava. Like, this is largely and entirely on Quackity's shoulders. And I think like, Slime makes, like, a really good, like, you know, point and argument on that, and pointing out, was like, you taught me these things, and it ruined me, but you're right, you were right about the things that you said, but because you told me them, you ruined my life, and
but also,
I hope
like,
those lessons treat you well, more or less.
Quackity's not a good person, but also, like, that feels like such, it doesn't, the fact that he, like, turned his best friend into a commodity, it doesn't feel like he's understanding that he's essentially turned his best friend into a commodity. It feels like...
No, yeah.
Like, he doesn't... He understands what he's trying to do. Like, he wants to populate Las Nevadas. He wants his citizens to be mindless machines. And he gets that with the whole slime thing. But he doesn't look like he even understands the gravity of what he's, like, done to his memory of slime. He's essentially... It's sacrilege.
Yeah.
Right, kind of like that. He's, like, spat all over his memory of... He spat all over Charlie's feelings, he spat all over his own feelings, he spat all over everything Charlie was to him when he started the whole slime cloning business. And he doesn't even realize it. And that's the part that gets me. Like, he doesn't even realize he's spitting and standing and destroying every good thing about his memory of slime by doing that. He's ruined every good thing that he had with slime by doing that, essentially.
I mean, he basically took someone who was his friend, and he found a way to commodify his existence. Like, obviously, the new slime, like, the slime people, the slime army that he made, aren't actually, you know, Charlie Slimesicle, but he made them in the same, like, he took what he knew from slime, which was a very, I'm sure, personal thing, and then he forced he created and then forced all of the, you know, beings like him to develop and change into the same type of thing. Like, it's not it's not good, bro. Like, oh my god.
He doesn't even realize it's fucking, like, maybe on some level he understands that's pretty fucked up, but he doesn't, like, understand how fucked up it is to him personally, him and Slime personally, on a personal level. Like, he doesn't seem to get that, and that's like, how could you not see that you just, if Slime were to ever remember anything about you, that you've just ruined any chance of reconciliation you could have had with him.
Yeah,
because he
it's
decided
just,
to do that.
Yeah, it's just not gonna... It's very much a moment of blindsight, I think. Because, on the one hand, he got what he wanted, which was people who were loyal to Las Nevadas, loyal to him. I mean, weak-ass people. Purple
They died
Dream,
one hit.
like, cleared that army in seconds once they realized how weak they are and they just need some TNT. But, like, he made... it's just the indoctrination of it all goes a lot farther than even, like, Lemberg does. And I think it was mostly played for comedy, and to be fair, it was hilarious. But,
was so
like,
funny.
it is deeply messed up, because he basically... I mean, he bred soldiers. Like, he bred and created...
Child soldiers. Literally child
pretty much
soldiers.
an army of... I would say brainwashed, but they're not even brainwashed. They're just indoctrinated into this
Indoctrination is
ideal...
brainwashed.
I mean, I don't know if I can say brainwashed, just because, like, the only reason that they are, like, they weren't, like, something else and then turned into that, it was that
Well,
he
they
made them.
They kind of
Were.
were. It was just that they were
They were
slime.
slime.
Kind of.
And then
But, like, they
brainwashed
weren't,
into
like,
becoming Charlie
different
clones.
people. They were you know, like brainwashing to me, I guess, is just you're this type of you're type A, and then through the brainwashing you become type B, kind of a thing, which I guess is the same, but like I don't know, because they weren't necessarily people.
Just because they weren't people doesn't mean they
until
weren't
he turned them
brainwashed
into
becoming
people.
Charlies.
I don't know.
It was more like they were slimes and he was trying to get them to act like humans.
Yeah, which he did.
But humans that were exclusively loyal to him and did whatever he said. So brainwashing.
Which he did pull off. So I mean, kudos for that, I guess. But I just, oh man, like I don't know why you thought that would work in the first place, because actually that's not true, because I thought it was gonna work. To be fair, I thought exactly. But I thought it was going to backfire on him in a different way than it did, because what I thought was going to happen was a situation where he was going to release the slime army, right? And the slime army, he's basically taught them that they will live and die for Los Nevadas, and the only thing that matters is Los Nevadas. And so I fully expect he was like, oh, I know what's gonna happen. Dream and Purple, and maybe Puns, are gonna roll up, and they're gonna destroy Los Nevadas. And because the slimes have been, you know, created to protect Los Nevadas, and that's all they know, they're going to go ham, buck wild, and basically, like, malfunction, and just start taking over the entire server. Because if the one thing you were created to protect isn't a thing anymore, then where are they gonna be able to, they're not gonna be able to set the boundaries, and they're probably gonna just be like, okay, well now everything is a threat, so we kill everything. So I fully thought this was gonna turn into like a zombie apocalypse of the slimes. It didn't, but that's what I thought was gonna happen. Turns out they're incredibly weak.
I just gotta say, I love how it goes from super dramatic, cinematic shots to just Purple and Dream doing comms like Bed Wars.
They were so chill about it too. Like when Dream was talking the entire time, every time I heard his voice, I was just like, he sounds like he's like recording a Minecraft video, like the elevator video. He's like, there's so many of them, but it was so
they die in one hit? What?
I mean, I'm not sure. My guess is that they were like just reskinned zombies.
Probably, or I mean, they can
They
code,
said they
so
were
it's not
NPCs,
hard to make
so-
like weird.
Yeah, but they basically acted like Minecraft zombies did.
More or less, they just followed them
Just
around
like
and hit 'em.
mobbing around people.
Though to be fair, even Minecraft zombies, when you're in Nether, even when you're in Netherite, if you have that many of them just swarming around you, like, but to be fair, it's also really not hard to like do like a basic code to make some kind of like NPC. So I don't know. It could be just reskinned,
Like
or it could be.
Attack.
I mean, it's like Occam's Razor. It's easier just to reskin zombies and add a little bit of code so that they only target.
I mean, I don't. They didn't walk like
Dream and
zombies. Is the
Purple.
thing. They walked
That
too
was the other
fast.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were all sped up, so maybe that's another thing they changed. Because I don't think there's any other mob that's...
I mean, you basically can just start with any of the mob code and then just customize it to how you need it to be. I mean,
Also,
I'm pretty sure that's how
he's a
most
coder,
people make
so-
things. Yeah.
He knows how to code plugins and makes adjustments in Minecraft code like that. So.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
And
be
if Dream
suspicious,
didn't
though.
want to do it, then I'm sure they would have just gotten Callahan to do it.
True.
Dream code, or Callahan codes all the plugins and things that Dream doesn't have time for.
Yeah.
True MVP
Including
of the server.
DNF splash tag. Hey.
Yeah, that. I'm pretty sure he's probably the one who like coded it so that there was, you know, able to have a 1.19 world attached. Like I think a lot of the, other than like a few specific things, like we know that like Rambu's Silk Touch hands were something that specifically Dream coded, while he was watching one of his streams.
Foolish's totem abilities too.
Oh yeah, probably. Mans can still code, of course, but it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I just. Oh, it's so funny. They're so.
The
Dude,
slides
I
were
love
hilarious. I loved that.
Zap me up.
Oh, I don't know. You wouldn't have seen this, Snowy, because you're not on Twitter. But actually, okay. So during
he said slap me up, right?
he said slap me up instead of dap me up to show that he was corrupted. The funny thing is, I'm pretty sure I heard so Quackity's facing off with, Purple and Dream, and then Slime turns on him, and I'm pretty sure at one point when Quackity's, like, saying things over the sound of, like, Slime chasing him and, like, all the Slime, clones attacking, Purple and Dream. Yes, attacking Purple and Dream. I'm pretty sure you actually can hear Slimesicle go, "I'm gonna dap you up with a sword."
Yeah, I heard that. Oh my god. I'm gonna dap you up, threatening.
Yeah, it's just... oh boy.
Slime God, I love Slime's monologue. It was so good. Also, I just have to say, I was 100% expecting Purple to show at the end there to show up behind Slime going, "What the fuck? Why'd you push me off?"
There's no way Purple died from that fall, not with Netherite. Like, Quackity, absolutely.
He shouldn't have, but apparently he did. Also, he should have because you didn't see any items on the ground, and it was not 5 minutes by the time Quackity got.
Well, you've gotta do, like, the theatrical components, Yeah,
but I like the Minecraft consistency.
Oh, I think you mentioned on stream that, like, a zombie picked up his stuff.
Oh, did it?
No.
When they were recording?
I think that was just me trying to explain why he didn't have any items on the ground, because zombies can't... You'd need an army of zombies to pick up every single item, because aside from the armor, each individual item, a zombie can only carry one. So he'd have to have, like, the full inventory slot full of zombies whooshing by to pick up his items. if he'd actually died from that fall.
I mean, he might have only had, like, the armor and his weapon.
Although...
Because he knew he was gonna die, so no point having extra stuff on him.
Although, on the topic of dying from a fall, I didn't realize that was Quackity's second life and not his third life. I thought he was dead.
I think
it was because originally I think he lost... When we were still, like, working at the live stuff, people thought that he lost a life during the Red Festival.
They retconned it.
And then that was later clarified that he didn't lose life, and his first life was lost to Technoblade.
Yeah.
Okay, see, because I definitely thought he was, like, dead, and I was like, oh, it truly is the end of Quackity.
Yeah, because I remember after, like, they tried to execute Technoblade, people were, like, confused over whether he had 2 lives left or 1 life left.
Yeah, no, I thought he was dead, and I was really confused, and I was like, oh, I guess I misremembered.
Quackity at Foolishness. So, what now?
Yeah! I'm impressed that, like, somehow, like, from what we've heard from Quackity and Foolish and Purple, because I think Foolish actually right now is doing a stream where he's talking about it, how much they talked about was either sort of added last minute or was completely improv on their part, because apparently what Foolish said during the fireworks bit, he came up with. Slimesicle's monologue, he came up with, and Quackity had no idea what it was.
10 seconds of silence and then what the fuck?
Yeah, apparently. I think Puns said that a lot of what he talked about during his segment with Purpled wasn't necessarily completely scripted, and that he came up with some of it himself, or part of it by himself.
Not me gushing about Puns' protectiveness.
But we also know that, like, one of Foolish's lines was literally recorded, like, the day before, and that, or maybe it was that Purple and Puns' part got added last minute. Maybe that was what it was, or, like, it was only, like, done, like, 2 days ago. All I know is that, like, it was really, really well done, but it was interesting to hear about how some of it was done, like, so recently.
Yeah.
And sort of last minute. And they pulled it off expertly, but it was just really interesting to hear that that was the case, because I wouldn't have thought about that after watching it.
Yeah.
Like, I would not have thought that it was that sort of recent. I don't know if what else happened during that stream that was interesting, because there was a lot of like different things.
Puns.
I feel like we're just sort of like, yes, puns. Puns is a protective bestie to Dream.
Oh my god, Dream told Puns about the torture. Holy shit. Oh my god.
I'm very much enjoying the theory I've seen from a few people that that Puns decided to go and reach out to Purple on his own, and it wasn't necessarily something that Sea Dream asked him to do. I just really love that theory.
Sea Dream tosses out like some sort of half like he's not even seriously mean. He's like, maybe I should try and get all of Quackity's allies against him. And then Puns just was like, yeah, I can work with that, and then head straight to Purple.
It was just,
he's
I don't
the
know,
one
there
who
was...
finds out all the information, all the weaknesses.
It was also interesting seeing Purple and Puns' dynamic, because I think a lot of people really liked the whole mercenary duo, which apparently they're doing, are like brothers or something like that, or like they knew each other, and like Puns was like his mentor or something. But it turns out that is not actually true. The two of them know of each other by reputation and the fact that they can both, you know, kick ass, but they don't, like, they're not close.
They're not, okay, I think they are kind of close, but they're not, like, friendly close.
Well, it sounded like, based off the way that, like, Purple, like, talked to me, which was a lot of, like, you know I can, like, kick your ass, or, like, I don't need help, so why are you here?
Before.
Get out. So, like, I feel like it was very, like, they knew each other, obviously, but it was not, like, an actual, like, very close relationship. Because Puns didn't come at it from like a friendly sort of like, I know you, you know me, like we have a relationship that I can pull on. It was more of a, hey,
I have a proposal.
You want revenge too? I have a proposal. Wouldn't it be more fun to make him suffer? Like, it wasn't from, because there's obviously different ways you can convince people of stuff, and like if you were close with someone and have like a personal relationship with them, you can kind of pull on the, like, hey, you know me, I know you, we're friends.
Well, it's not, that's the thing, though. I don't think it was a friendly closeness. I don't think they were, like, they were, like, particularly nice to each other or friends with each other. I think it was more like a mercenary, co-worker thing. That they probably
Well, it doesn't even sound like they were coworkers. It just sounded like they both, like, knew each other. Was kind of the vibe I was getting. It was like, we both know each other, and I've talked to you, like, a few times, but, like, we've never worked closely or anything. Like, it didn't seem like a close relationship, even of, like, the acquaintance variety.
Well, it's that's the thing, though. It's, like, it's not friendly. I was saying, like, they were close, but in a sort of semi-antagonistic way. Like, the asshole keeps stealing the job that you want to do.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, it was just
least
interesting.
Purple was very agitated, and Puns was also very agitated.
Yeah, that's true.
Not necessarily by each other's presence.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it was, like, like, I'm not aggravated or, like, antagonized by you necessarily. They were both, like, Puns was obviously pissed off by the fact that Quackity had the balls to do that shit to his best friend. But, like, Purple was just pissed because, you know,
Quackity.
I think it was, I don't know, it kind of came off as, like, an inferiority complex, or, like, not necessarily that, but, like,
he wasn't satisfied
not like
with
a
the
confidence issue. Yeah, that, and then just, like, he kept, like, establishing the fact, like, he kept saying, it was like, I can do this on my own, I've got this. I don't know, it came off to me more of, like, a...
I hate to bring age into this, but I think it might be something, like, because of the way the fandom treats quote-unquote minors.
Yeah. Well, to me, it was more like, it felt like more like the repercussions or, like, the after effects of what Quackity tried to sell him on. Because, on the one hand, like, Purple didn't fall into, you know, really believing or going with what, you know, Quackity's whole legacy, you know, shtick. But I think there were some, like, poignant things that Quackity said and did that would stick with Purpled, aka, based off of his then interaction later on when he betrays Quackity, of Quackity did very much so remove the one most, like, notoriously purpled thing on the server. And so I think that very much did stick with Purple of, like, I don't have anything left here. There is nothing on this server that says I was here. And even if you're not, like, someone with a big ego who, like, feels like you have to be, like, emboldened across the stars, or, you know, just somebody who wants to, like, make a big mark on the world, because I wouldn't necessarily that he, you know, that is his vibe, but, like, I think everyone wants to be, you know, remembered, or at least for people to know that, like, hey, I existed. And Quackity removed that. And I think Purple, in sort of a very visceral way, in response to that kind of sentiment getting put into him by Quackity, that was why he was so determined when Puns talked to him, is like, I'm gonna do this myself. I don't need help. I've got this. I'm a badass. I can take care of this myself. I don't need anybody to help me. It's unnecessary. Yeah. I think it's trying to prove a point, but I think in a way it was also sort of trying to, like, leave his most permanent mark, because a lot of the other, like, events that he helped with, like, he helped the Eggpire, but not really. He helped Technoblade and Quackity against the Eggpire, but again, he was sort of relegated to the footnote. It was more Technoblade that was, like, the main star of that sort of invasion, along with Quackity. So I think this was his sort of way of, like, if I do this, I can take Quackity down myself. I can ruin everything he cares about, and I get the credit. It's all me. It's my legacy. It's what I've done. I will do this, and I will leave a mark on the world permanently. And, like, it wasn't, I don't know if he was planning to just destroy Los Nevadas himself, or if he was just focusing on getting rid of Slimesicle, and that was gonna be his revenge, but I still feel like that sort of sentiment that he expressed of, like, I can do this myself, came from that sort of place of Quackity being like, you have nothing on this server, no one will remember you. And this was his way of, like, well, they'll remember me if I do this, and I don't need help to do it. Or at least that was the vibe I got. I don't know.
I think it's kind of separate. I think Puns and Dream probably have one of the healthiest relationships on the Dream SMP.
It's not even all that
like, it's
healthy.
not like healthy, but like it's healthier than most of them.
It is. It's the most positive, healthy relationship, and it's not even all that healthy because of how much Dream is holding back on Puns.
Well, apparently he's not holding back as much as we thought.
True. Sobbing, crying on tears in the floor.
I don't know. Overall, I think the Quackity lore stream was a giant success. I have a lot of emotions about character Dream, which Drebbler is just making worse because all they talk about is the way that he was acting, or like how he kept checking where Purpled was, or that he told Purpled he would distract the slimes, and he did. Like, he basically took all of the slimes.
It's a pity that content creator Dream was having internet issues, because we could have gotten more lines.
I know. The way Dream was just placing down TNT as he ran off to, like, in defense, he didn't even want to destroy Last
Also, there is the question, like, was that TNT, did he put that TNT there, or is that the TNT that Wilbur said he was going to put there?
There was no TNT explosions from underneath. He put the TNT there. I was watching very carefully. There was no TNT underneath wherever Dream put TNT down.
Oh, it was a great stream.
The fact that he called for, like, as many people as possible to help back him up against Quackity too. Like, God, okay, we're running out of time, but I just want to say, who did not make it for Content Creator Dream's Plan C Dream lore video? I'm so mad. We got robbed. Got absolutely robbed.
Oh yeah. For anyone who isn't aware, Dream on a Twitter space this morning talked about some lore stuff. a little bit about what it's like playing, you know, the villain of the server, or why he got into that role and what he thinks of his character, as well as some things that he said he was originally planning on doing, such as another lore video like the one with the Revive book where he kills Vikkstar and Laserbeam. And it was gonna be about, it was an alternate escape. It was an alternate ending, or
It wasn't an alternate ending. It was it's
addition to the ending, I guess would be the better word, after the prison escape of him, of Pun telling him where Quackity was and him going in.
It's after he gets hold of the prison keys. It's after that.
Oh, it's
very
after
close.
Daedalus.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he was like a brief prison type 2. I don't know, I feel like it would have added a lot to his character. I feel like it also would have added a lot to Sam's character. So I am a bit sad that it didn't happen and that we'll probably never get for it to happen, but
Okay, quite frankly, I don't care what Dream says. This is canon. This has like if fucking Wilbur can put hitting on 16 as a AO3 fanfiction or a stream slideshow, Dream can fucking drop a Twitter space and say that this plan lore that never got to be done is canon. And it doesn't even have to be like done in the time frame it needs to be, because you can just redo the lore, just make the lore video and say it took place in the past. Like, and you're the author, Dream. You're the author. Use your word of God and make it word of God. Like, oh my god, it's so rough, and ultimately this doesn't change what happens at the end, but it explains every little weird inconsistency about fucking Wilbur, about why Dream wanted an army, why he was teaming up with Purple, why he was trying to get foolish to turn against Quackity, why he didn't feel safe to go after Quackity alone. Like, holy shit, it explains everything. Everything!
Yeah, I feel like it adds a lot of interesting context. Also, I'm just a sucker for any time that Dream, you know, shows his point of view. Because I want that. And that's why I'm excited for Season 2!
I know! It has context for, like, Sam and Dream's interaction in front of Foolish. It adds context for why the fuck Wilbur was saying about he didn't tell me this. When in reference to Exile. Like, when the fuck did they talk? Apparently after Dream escaped from prison number 2. Okay, like, so many things could have been explained. You just have to make a canon, Dream. Don't be a coward! Don't be a coward!
So what should we do for question of the week?
We could just ask what people's favorite part of the lore was.
Druns.
No.
Druns.
Druns. I mean, obviously our favorite part was the fact that we saw a character Dream. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff that happened. Or if you don't want to talk about Quackity's lore stream, you can also talk about what your favorite part of the Sam Bucket stream was, because that's what we're going to talk about next episode.
Week.
So we can, you know, use some of those answers and questions and stuff. If we can't get together, some of us can stream or something. I don't know.
Alright, bye.
Bye!
Well, thanks for listening to the 63rd episode of Mellohi, and we hope you enjoyed it. If there's any topic you'd like to hear us discuss, feel free to leave a comment or find us on Twitter at Mellohi Podcast, where you can also ask us questions or just get updates about new episodes. We also have a Discord server that you can find a link to in the description. See you next time!